Greetings, dear ones. This is Friday, November 22nd, 1122, a lovely number. And we are going to be delving into some future energetics today. And I invite you all to just count this as a wonderful opportunity to reset, to regenerate, because we have a lot of beautiful energetics and potentials. The title of today's talk and deep dive is Future Potentials Now. Because there are so many things that we have available, so many things that are here to assist us, so many things that we can utilize and tap into. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the oils and seeing their message, which I'll share with you in a little bit. But it's a very beautiful message today, and as always, and I'm going to be citing that on a daily basis, so probably through Facebook story, but and on a quickie Instagram as well, because they are truly stepping forward to be able to assist us every single day. And we have the wisdom of the plant. Certainly, I would say, with Young Living oils, that wisdom is so palpable, so accessible, and so in such a deep offering for us. And I don't necessarily find that with other types of oils because of the way that they're processed. These are done with such honor and integrity and valuing of the soil, the seed, the plant, the season, and the harvesting process, and the harvesting timing even. So that's huge as far as being able to allow for the life force of the plant to still be accessible and be that alive. Excuse me one second, I'm just going to grab my notes because I want to bring forward quite a few different new discoveries and scientific breakthroughs, that scientific and technological and engineering breakthroughs that will allow for those future potentials to be activated now. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrea Regal, and I have been teaching the blending of ancient knowledge and scientific technology along with the psycho-emotional, psycho-spiritual, psycho-energetic aspects of the human, and how that is directly related in a transpersonal way from the smallest aspect of our human experience and the smallest aspect of our earth to the largest on a universal level. That's why my company is called Healer's Universe, because it is viewed from a universal perspective, and you are an integral part of that universe. And its process of evolution, which coincides with right now the process of evolution of the super galaxies, our galaxy, and right down here to the earth, and humanity being the actual, not only the earth being the playboard, but we are the players, so to speak. We design this reality. We are individuated pieces of the divine, as many of you know and believe, but we actually can recreate this universe, this earth, this human process of evolution in such a way as never before. given the fact that we have a mandate from the universe, from Source, as a matter of fact. Earlier this year, there was an origin point configuration that was set out from Source, if you will, to this universe. And it is a wholly new set of mathematics, a wholly new set, a new way of law, not just new spiritual laws. Spiritual laws being the framework upon which a universe is based, or a framework upon which a galaxy or planet is based. And what can be done, what cannot be done, what is within the parameters of that structure. So it's not just a modification of spiritual law as it has been, this framework, but it is a new way of law that is very collaborative. It's very adaptive. It's very in the moment, which again, this is something that's unheard of in a universe with this level of separation. So, and again, nothing wrong with that, or this level of polarity. There's nothing wrong with that. This is how this universe was set up. You chose to be in this universe to explore it in all its myriad ways of polarization. So it is highly significant that you are here. It is very vital that you step into and claim your participation, responsibility, and moreover, making choices. That was another big theme this week, and it always is within my work, is when you have knowledge, first and foremost, of yourself, know thyself, but when you have knowledge about how things work and what's behind and under the many things that we experience, the many patterns that are manifested in our life through our childhood experience, then you are sitting or standing in a place where you can make choices. Choices that you were previously even unaware of. I've had clients over and over and over again that come to such an experience of themselves, such a true feel and sensation of themselves, because it's very, very different when we function from the mind. And our entire, not just society, but most of the world is set up on a basis of trying to function from and through our mind. To a great extent also our will, which is why many find issues surrounding their neck, their shoulders, their upper back, excuse me, upper chest, because very infrequently do we move down past about this point. Certain things will allow us to touch into our heart, which is, about mid to upper chest as far as the chakras are concerned. But to go down deeper within us is very, very challenging, given the fact that as children, we barred those places. We had to, in order to live in situations and circumstances that were intolerable and much more than what we could bear. So, when we are able to access those deeper places within us, our ability to create the reality that we desire is so much more potentiated, so much more powerful, because creating from the mind or imagination or even the third eye is one level of manifesting or designing or creating. But when we're able to have more of us accessible in those deeper places within us, and ultimately when clients are able to reach, when we as a in a cooperative effort are able to reach into the root of the root, then you're literally opening up portals to your other selves, your other lives, as the euphemism is, or other existences, as I prefer to refer to them. And as such, can then channel through, call in, utilize in practical means to live your life here in this 3D reality, to create your life the way you want to create our world the way you want to. And, that always sounds kind of weird and selfish to many people. And, how can my wishes, not override anyone else's? Or how can, I have my wishes without it interfering in any way with the larger picture? Well, the larger picture is made up of all of those different strings, so to speak. And very interestingly, this week there was a lot of cosmic and galactic and universal information coming across my desk. As a matter of fact, the universe can be seen as a huge spider's web. And when we can tap into those individual strings, which is where the newest theories state dark matter is. And dark matter, when we're talking about it on a cosmic level, does not have the connotation of bad or evil. At certain levels, it can take the form of destruction or deathing. But in and of itself, when we move beyond a certain level, probably about the galactic and maybe somewhat into the intergalactic level, the sense of evil is no longer a part of that. We're then talking about just a question of dark and light in destructive and creative aspects, entropy or deathing, as well as birthing or newness. And when we get farther out, we're talking about dark energy, light energy, dark matter, matter which can be seen as light because it does step into the electromagnetics. And when I refer to electromagnetics, electromagnetics are simply one bandwidth of energetics within our entire experience, universal experience. There are many others, but here on this planet, in this 3D reality, electromagnetics are one of the primary, if not one of the higher percentage energetics that are here. It's what allows us to experience this reality physically. It's what allows us to access certain non-physical energetics. Electromagnetics are certainly a vital part of the physical planet, so they allow us to experience physicality in a way. There are also within the planet and within our bodies not only electromagnetic grids and energetics, but magnetic and electric and many others. And the wondrous thing is that each person is here very, very individualized as far as their expertise, their connections to universal archetypes of energy, universal places, if you will, that your soul is currently existing in. And that allows for this ultimately a multi-existential experience here in 3D, but through a physical basis. And a lot of the energetics that have been coming in this week have been about light. And, there's a full spectrum of light, much of which we do not see, we cannot physically experience, but it is absolutely there. And science has revealed to us that it actually can be worked with. This week, as a matter of fact, in one of the magazines, the science magazines that I receive, there is a new quantum theory explaining how light and matter interact. And while they were exploring that, they came upon the first ever depiction, like actual visible depiction of a single light particle. I'll try to post these references in the comments underneath this video, but and hopefully I'll be able to capture the picture that that the article revealed. So this allows for wonderful new possibilities, not only in quantum physics, but also in the actual material sciences. So, think of, Star Trek and warp drive. Not that that was necessarily based on light, but there are all kinds of possibilities. And Caltech came through with evolving optical devices in 3D nanostructures with advanced light manipulative capabilities. So again, that means that there is a way to access different forms of light, different levels of light for energy, for I have no idea what else scientists do. And that's why it's vital. I keep using that word because our lives depend on a great deal of this. If science is shut down, as it has been done to a great extent throughout history, then all of these potentials, all of these means by which humanity, this planet, can not only resolve all of its current challenges, but become much more. And that on an individual basis. That the more knowledge you have, the more tools you have, the more access you have to different resources, the more that enables you to access within you and the divine itself and further, wider, non-physical resources. So the challenge right now is that there are old ways, just like there have been throughout history, wherein the attempt to shut down science, it equates to shutting down knowledge. If you shut down knowledge, you shut down access to knowledge, then the people, the masses, are very controllable. They are very very suppressionable. So this is an old story, it's an old pattern, and you are here at this moment breaking these old ways of being that have been around for thousands of years. Nothing wrong with them. It is what we chose to explore. It is what we chose to study. But now they are obsolete. They are not sustainable. It is a complete, not only dead end, but it doesn't coincide with the expansion of man at this moment and the expansion or the evolution of a species. It is based on old patterns, old structures of the pyramidal structure I've explained so many different times, where a very few at the top of that pyramid hold the power, hold the resources, can own the resources. And much of these scientific breakthroughs, you're not, excuse me, we cannot own the sources, whether it be light, whether it be the sun, whether it be the wind, whether it be the geothermal energy in the earth, whether it be metals, gold, different metals that are being used in industries. They cannot be owned, and this breaks that pyramid. It completely destroys it, because when excuse me, when everyone has more access to knowledge, to resources, then that base gets wider and wider and wider and wider, and the pyramid actually collapses. So that old structure, old way of being, is in the process of collapsing now. But as many are well aware, this is the end game. This is the last battle, as all those wonderful movies, refer to, or stories. And the battle is for us. The battle is for humanity, as well as humanity being able to be the warriors, so to speak. So I am just so excited with all that's going on, technologically, engineering, etc. The problem is how to pay for those things. Some of you are aware that COP29 just ended in Azerbaijan, and that is an international gathering whereby decisions, choices, policies for the world are voted upon, discussed, voted upon, and put in place to reduce some of the damage that we are inflicting upon the earth, and thereby upon humanity itself, humans. And there has been a huge fight right now in the gathering of COP29, whereas the policies have been coming forth and been agreed on, but not how to pay for it. So we have most of the most damaged countries are the poorer countries, those that have received the most damaging results from a lot of these pollutants. And the argument has always been, and is more so at this moment, that the richer countries, or the countries that have polluted the most, are being asked to pay the most. And when you have certain governments coming in that are based on that old pyramid structure, they have no desire whatsoever to care for others, to make this planet a better place, because it's very much about all you can get in the moment, and how rich and powerful you can become at this current time, with no regard to the future, because there's simply no care for it. Whether it is to pass on to your family or not, it doesn't matter to them. And when you have, again, countries that are not able to unite in the ability to move forward, then any advances that have been made through this gathering or previous ones, such as the Paris Agreement, which, if you don't have powerful and financially, more financially comfortable countries funding that or pulling out of that agreement, then the international policies collapse. And that comes down to individual harm, whether it's in the poorer countries or whether it's to our least economically stable levels of society. It's been proven again and again and again by so many studies, so many different organizations, that it is the poorer communities that suffer the most from environmental detrimental effects. And if you have geopolitical, blocks on an international basis that are deciding to pull any financial support from those environmental climate steps that need to be taken, then the dangers to our water, our air, our food, our land, the climate with all the storms and flooding and drought increases. So I'm not saying that to sound like a doomsday person, but it is real. It is the facts. It is what is occurring right now. And I'm going to try to keep people updated on several different bases, whether it's scientific, kind of the geopolitical, international decision making, because we don't all have that time, and I may be just giving you the highlights, but I think at this point in time, with all of that overwhelming size and vastness of what's going on and what we're experiencing, it's going to become increasingly important that we make those choices I was referring to earlier in what we purchase, how we live, how we decide who and what policies are being put in place, from the most local, our township, our county, our state, to being aware of what's going on internationally. And we do have choice. The masses are actually the most powerful group on the planet, despite the fact that billionaires and large governments seem to be in power. It is actually the people. If we chose on one day, just here in this country, to stop purchasing one item, the effect on that corporation or on the entities that own that source or resource would be affected so deeply that they would be forced to make a different choice as far as where they're sourcing their ingredients, or where they are taking advantage of another country and its poorer people and having no choice. So there's been a lot this week about the international. There's been a lot this week coming from the cosmos, and also what is referred to as utopia. And that isn't a pie in the sky idea, but we're talking about science and spirituality blending to be able to create the world that we wish to live in. Another one of the articles that came across my desk was that there are actually 4 global policies that could eliminate 90% of the plastic waste on this planet and its linked carbon emissions. And that's huge. 4 policies. So it wouldn't take a great deal for the world to choose and enact policies that would reverse almost every challenge, every detrimental experience that we're having right now. And yet again, we have strong arm countries, ours now becoming one of them, that are going to choose for and on behalf of that very, very small group of people and corporations at the top. And I think I read, I don't know what the percentage, I'm trying to look back in my notes for the percentage, but the percentage of billionaires, here it is, billions, let's see, participate. It was just an extremely small amount. There's only like 2,781 billionaires in the world, and that's a very small percentage. And then we can include corporations. It's still an extremely small percentage compared to the billions of people on the planet. So we have these potentials. It's here. Another strong force this week has been the creative seed. And those seeds we can plant. And that's why our participation and involvement and knowledge, awareness of what's going on in our world can allow us to make the choices, both personally and globally, that will, quote unquote, force change. And today's message was very, very definitely future potentials. And there is a timing about things. And those potentials are, in one way, we can see it as already in existence. Because everything that I don't want to say could imagine, everything that we could access in this universe is already here. Everything, I know you've heard the saying, everything that you need is already here inside of you. It's a question of having the knowing, having the knowledge, having the knowing thyself to be able to access that deeper knowledge, that divine master within. And when we place our dreams, desires, wishes into that universal wide web I was referring to, into the creative source, then those potentials are constantly popping up, or those possibilities are within our accessibility, within that web of potentials. But physicalizing it is another thing. And so I'm going to be calling forth a couple different groups so that you can learn how to do this with as much potency and force and energy and power, so that those potentials can be accessed and activated, actuated here and now. That it isn't going to be hundreds of years for this to take place. That's why this radical shift into destruction, into darkness, into the worst of humanity has happened. And I'll talk more about that in another day, but it is very purposeful. It isn't enough to know. We must feel what that darker choice, that destructive choice results in order for us to actually then be activated and make a different choice. It happens on an individual basis. We are so able to tolerate and put up with, and our defense system steps in to distort what we're experiencing, whether it's in a marriage, whether it's in our work environment, whether it's in our physical bodies. We tolerate so much until it gets to a point when its presentation in the physical is so apparent, is so uncomfortable, that we must make a move. And I know certainly in my own experience, and I'm not a gambling person, but I would put a lot of money on the fact that each one of you have experienced the same in one situation or another. Excuse me. And from all of the different cosmic sources that have been coming through, whether it's through scientific advances, whether it's through this amazing last supermoon of this month, the Beaver Moon, which was just about a week ago. We have alignments of planets. We have constellations that in and of themselves represent individuals that have existed on this planet. Many may dispute that and say it's only legend or myth, but they were beings that existed here on this planet, be it Pollux, Castor, Orion, so many that were by ancient cultures named or identified as then being representative in our cosmos. So we can access them. I have encouraged, certainly any of my clients, people who have worked with me in workshops, to not dismiss any of those ancient beings, ancient perceptions, ancient concepts. And when they come across your path, to pay attention and to open yourself to learning with them. For example, last week I think I mentioned in one of my talks that Pythagoras was very, very apparent, because myself and other colleagues have been working with the new math that has come in from this origin point activation that I mentioned earlier, and entirely new laws, entirely new mathematics of the universe have had to come forward, and we are accessing them in our energetic practices. So we have Pythagoras representing math. This week, Socrates was very present. And Socrates was an amazing being who actually brought the stars to earth, so to speak. And that he taught that the principle within every moral concept, that those concepts not influenced by historical and societal conditions, nor by individual perception, that there is a core to each moral precept or moral concept. And we've seen throughout history the higher level of that moral concept, whichever it may be, coming forward, or the worst of it coming forward. But at its core, there is a basic energetic, if you will. He didn't speak in terms of energetic or per se, but that core of that moral is within our cosmos. It's within our planet. It's within humanity. So, and many of you may have heard of the Socratic method, which is a means of working an idea all the way down to its core, discussing back and forth, much like many of the Buddhist practices and Buddhist way of studying. So again, this brings us back to the individual. When we work our so-called issues that are sourced back to childhood woundings, because that was the map you left yourself. Again, it is in the feeling that allows us, whether it's the intolerance, as I mentioned earlier, or it's the emotional feeling deep within what we experienced as a child. It's the energy, it's the fire, it's the friction, it's the means by which that is transmuted. And by transmuted, that doesn't mean just transforming it, adjusting it, modifying yourself, or controlling it, but literally transmuting it from one thing into something else completely. From the apparent wound, which is apparently just a human experience, into your soul's design within that wounding. In other words, there's an aspect of your beyond human self that lies within that wounding that, when transmuted, is then physicalized, embodied in you, and you're living through that soul piece, that soul aspect, on a daily basis, thereby being able to tap into that profound energy, that profound power that you have to be able to create with. Okay, so it isn't just the mind. The mind doesn't have much energy, frankly, but it is our emotional bodies, our deep energy bodies that have the power to actuate those potentials that I was referring to, that are already here. And that there's, workings behind the scenes always for that to take place. We also have, from the cosmos, the Geminid meteor shower. It's one of the most visible, so I encourage you to try to go to somewhere where there's a bit of dark sky if you live near a city or township with a lot of lights, and to lay back on the ground and experience those meteors coming at you. Of course, there's always the potential to use them as wishes. And, that's every time you see a shooting star, it's a wish. So if you sit under the Geminid meteor shower and see multiple wishes. So there is a lot of energy here this week in regard to light. And we're going to call in that light right now. Not only the electromagnetic light, but light in all its forms. Light as a source of illumination, whether it's in daylight through our sun, whether it's at nighttime through our beautiful moon and the many stars. This illumination is here for us. And so we're starting, as I'm speaking, all of these ingredients are going within the sacred container, this sacred geometric container that's being formed from these ingredients, from those that are present, and all that you bring. And this not only light energy of electromagnetics, not only light of illumination, but that also brings in the light of knowledge and the light of awareness and the lightness of being for when we are tapped into these places within us, within our kind of cosmic web, within the knowledge and illumination that helpers, both scientific and non-physical, or those beyond the physical, can help us. We are actually lightening the way of being. And light then in a sense of less burden, less struggle, less kind of having to tough it through and suffer, and all the ways in which we have previously lived these past several thousands of years, and now have the potential to live. Again, I'm going to cite Star Trek and Star Trek Next Generation, a way of living where money and hunger and poverty and war and all of these destructive forms no longer exist, and that someone can follow their bliss, follow their joy, and be able to pursue that and live that and work that, not determinant by your social position or finances. And yet we are being called to that and for that right now. So today's oils message was, as you tap into the essence of that child within. In other words, when children are playing or living from their essence, they know nothing else is going on. They are entirely enwrapped in bringing out what's inside, allowing that to flow and letting their little bodies follow that flow and that movement. In other words, being in their bliss. And this time is exactly that, coming out, living from your bliss. So the invitation is, as you live from that essence of you, it will enable you to anchor in the white light, the brightest of lights, again in all its many forms, so that the noble truth of you can be spoken, can be lived from, can be your pillar, that noble truth of you, and enabling you to bring the power of you through your passion to fearlessly express who you are, your place in the world, feeling into your being able to feel your innate, your messages from and through your innate. That's your direct line of communication to your soul. And remembering that you are a multi-dimensional, multi-existential being and have the ability to access those other states of you, those other existences of you, so that the hopes of your heart can physicalize, can actuate. And when I'm referring to hope, I'm not referring to the old form of hope, of hoping that some outside source, be it, government, be it a religious leader, be it the divine even, please, please, please do this for me. But instead, what I've been teaching for the past 10 years or more of the new form of hope is putting into words and metaphysical form your desire and watching the universe bring that to fruition. So it's a beautiful message. As you live from or move from your essence, it will enable you to anchor into the whitest of lights, or lightest lightness of being, so that your noble truth can be lived and spoken, thus allowing you to have more power in your passions, fearlessly following your sense of who you are and your place in this world, feeling, sensating, not just imagining, not just in a psychic basis, but truly feeling your own soul's voice through you, remembering that you are a multi-existential being that can access from those multi-existential sources, and allowing the desires and wishes of your heart, when spoken, to come to you, to actuate. So all of these energies, feel that mixing and blending and alchemical action taking place. And we have the energy of both the destructive forces and the creative forces in this crucible. For it is in that friction and energy and firing that true evolution, true transmutation can take place. So really just feeling. I know that in general, it's kind of go out and experience the divine and all the angelic realms, and I'm certainly not criticizing, but there is a way to feel so much more, experience so much more of you, excuse me, and so much more of these future potentials now. I'm going to say that again, and really allow yourself to physically and energetically feel that. Future potentials now. And if you are sensitive, you may be experiencing that in kind of your inner core pillar, your Hara line, as many are familiar with, your central axis. And I invite you to say it with me. Future potentials now. And let yourself really feel that. And as always, we are going to call in the primordial elements of our cosmos, of our universe. The element of earth or matter, air, water, and fire. The core elements that have been acknowledged, recognized, and worked with by the most ancient of cultures, and through which our sciences are bringing forth knowledge, resources, technologies, engineering, new physics, so many more potentials. Your own individual potentials. Of living yourself, your life full out. Fearlessly, as the beautiful Young Living essential oil brought forth in the message. And again, those potentials in your life may reflect in your finances, your living arrangement, your work, your relationships. Yes? But moreover, who you are as an expansive soul experiencing yourself through the framework of a physical human experience. And again, if you are a sensitive or you are allowing yourself to truly feel the energetics that are here, you may be experiencing your internal world, which is the ideal. For again, therein lies all the answers, all the information. Resources and source itself. And again, if your mind tries to engage or you feel your energy field going up and out, I invite you to simply ask and allow your body, your energy field, your wider self, which is your soul self, wide soul, and any guides, teachers, masters, other beings, other energetics that are here at this point in time, either through you individually or in this container or in the wider collective, to assist you in feeling your inner verse, your internal self. Many of you may be experiencing a depth or a heaviness in your body, or as you sit on the chair, couch, floor, whatever may be the surface. And just simply allow that depth. Allow yourself to experience from inside the energetic transmission from and through all of the energetics I mentioned and many more. For there is great power being transmitted amping up your ability to actuate those potentials. Not necessarily taking physical steps for right timing, will reveal itself. The more deeply you sit within you, the more deeply you sit in this dream, wish, desire, for that comes from deeper within than simply the mind. You can utilize the mind and imagination to grab onto, to tap into something that would allow you the feeling, the sensation, the experience of living that future potential, which actually hyperloops it into the now. Embedding it into your system, enabling you to feel through your innate, your soul's line of communication, as to when and how and where and what eventual actions steps to take. Again, the more you allow yourself to feel, you may notice your diaphragm area, which is where the third chakra sits, your sense of yourself and your place, not only in this world, but in the universe. You might also be experiencing something in your mid-abdomen, which is your core, your essence being activated or enlivened or energized. Those of you who are very familiar with working with your body, your energy field, may also notice a sensation in your low abdomen, around the top of the pubic hairline or just above that. One being your anchor point, enabling you to anchor deeply into this energetic configuration today. Your potentials, future potentials. As well as just above that is your pivot point, the point through which you can pivot to access other existences. Those who have worked with me have that pivot point very flexible and accessible, tapping into other abilities, knowledge, talents, to channel them in and through this existence, this reality. Now you may be aware of your first chakra. If you're unfamiliar with the chakra system, you may be having sensations in the genital area. Bringing that down and through from other existences, all the potentials we've spoken of, physicalizing here on this planet through that first chakra, your life, your existence, here and now on this planet at this time. Again, I encourage you to not see, not vision, not go up and out, but to allow for physical, energetic, even emotional sensations within you. Another way of knowing thyself. Just sensate, just feel, just experience. No thought, no brain necessary. Allow these mighty energies to course through you, enlivening, vitalizing, energizing. Your body, your being. Again, just receiving, nothing to do, no work, no effort, no intention, no push, no goal, no purpose. You are merely allowing yourself to drink in, sit in, deepen. just the energies are going another level deeper right now, more powerful, more potent. Hopefully more palpable as well. Raining down from heaven, cosmic energies, the universal energetic of light in all its many forms. Many physical expressions of that light through stars, through meteors, our sun, our moon, and your own internal light. That essence that were it in physical form would be far more blinding than the human can tolerate. Radiant, allow yourself to feel that core of you in the very center of your body. If one were to draw a midline horizontally and vertically of the torso, right in the very center of you. And again, that's being anchored in through your very existence and on the planet through you. Again, you might be feeling your first chakra. Your third chakra, very, very much coming to the surface to again come out as who you truly are. And one last deep, energetic drink. Because it's very powerful. A little goes a long way, yes. And as I always encourage everyone, clients, those participants in workshops and groups, to truly allow following your system's means, method, pace, and rhythm to move from a less physical state back to a more physical state. Not simply because I'm mentioning it, but really allowing your system its way so that you can experience that wondrous and wonderful in-between state. Your less physical state, tapping into these energetic and spiritual aspects of you, soul aspects of you, as well as your human, physical. And that kind of, some people float back and forth until such time as they are more present physically in their bodies, in their chairs. Some people float down like a leaf with its own pace. Some people spiral upward. Your way is your way, and I encourage you to allow yourself to follow that way. For if nothing else, this time is about individuation and your way. Not someone else's way, not a method's way, but your way. And very definitely drink water. I know everyone knows that, but do not underestimate the power of that intensified deep dive. And to let you know, the Young Living oils that came forward for our benefit today were Inner Child, White Light, Lemon Myrtle, Life of Passion, Stress Away, Sensation, Patchouli, and Hope. And especially right now, I encourage everyone to lean on these wise contributors to our world, contributors to our advancement. And it is my great privilege and joy, should you choose. I do offer essential oils sessions where we would work with the oils not only for a message, much like what came through today, but also which oils want to come and work with you, just like any other beings, as I said, be it mythological, historical, religious beings throughout history and time. So too is that wisdom from plants and this combination of plants when they're referring to a blend, and they will come forward. It's not me that decides, it is they that decide who wants to work with you at this time. And so those sessions are which oils are coming through for you right now, which ones you would like to get involved with and learn from and cooperate with. A beautiful, similar energetic alignment practice and message through the oils from your divine self to your human self. So those sessions are on special right now. They're about 75 minutes, and because of this, what's going on and the beautiful season that we're in, I'm offering those at like half price at $122. So please contact me. It's also, follow up with the oils and where to put them, and that can change at different, 4 days from now, they can want to go in a different place on your system. So I offer that as well, the follow up. So please give me a call, message me here on Facebook or what have you. I am delighted to be the interpreter of these amazing plant beings and tree beings for you. So, as always, it is with the deepest of honor, gratitude, and love for your presence here on the planet. And I look forward to convening with you again, whether in the Friday Ancient Future Wisdom events, or the upcoming groups, or ideally in individual sessions where that true you, your true nature can come forth. Until next time, be well.